Across the world, devoted women and men grow a range of food crops to feed their families and people living in urban centers. The diversity of crops and varieties observed in farmers' fields reflects their needs, opportunities, and strategies to produce food and to earn a living. Just like all farmers, we're curious when our neighbors grow a new variety. Before adding a new variety to our existing range of varieties, we want to explore what traits are of interest, what the market wants, and how the new variety grows under our conditions. When a new variety is introduced and others in the community can see it, the resulting demand for seed can create opportunities for seed entrepreneurs.
Tulianza kuuza na bei ya shilingi 30,000, 20, lakini kwa sasa hivi
I sold seed at 20 to 30,000 shillings, but now I sell at 45 to 50,000 shillings per bag.
Lakini kwa ushauri wangu nilikuwa na shauri kwamba ulime wahi pamoja na hakika, kwa sababu
all the varieties I have are good, but I advise my fellow farmers to plant wahi and hakika because it helps us farmers to reduce striga weeds.
Tuna tatizo kubwa sana la mmea unaoitwa kidua.
Namna kuitangaza, natoa suke moja.
The new varieties mature faster and yield more than the local varieties. The local varieties take very long to mature, more than 5 months, and the yield is low. And my neighbors, when they come to buy seed, they see the importance of early maturity and escaping hunger, which they had with the local varieties.
Unapoenda mnadani sasa, unapeleka unaweka pembeni, unaonyesha ni hii hapa ndipo ipo kwenye ndoo sasa.
You test a new variety to gain knowledge about it. Clearly there's no golden rule to choosing a variety. So how do you find the variety that works for you? Let's see how farmers in Nkungi village in central Tanzania tested new varieties within their farmer field school. Their main worry was to find sorghum varieties that suffered less from the parasitic weed striga. During the first year they compared 7 new varieties against their local variety in a plot that had lots of striga plants the year before. They planted at least 10 rows of each variety in blocks and carefully labelled them. As they wanted to learn how each variety performed under different practices, they divided the field into 3 equal parts. In the first part they managed the sorghum crop the way they normally do. In the second part they applied manure, while in the third part they applied manure and practiced tied ridges to conserve water. During weekly visits and supported by their extension agent, they observed how each variety performed under these different practices. Towards the end of the season, they compared all varieties in pairs, one against the other, always noting down which of the 2 they preferred. They repeated this exercise for different criteria like grain size, grain color, and resistance to striga. Once the field exercise was completed, they compared and discussed the results in the community hall. Testing the varieties in one experimental plot had given the members a good idea of which varieties they wanted to test on their own farm during the next season. As each farm had different soils, it would allow them to judge how the new varieties performed.
Katika kijiji chetu ilionekana kwamba tuna tatizo la kidua.
In our village, we had a problem of striga infestation, which we identified during a PRP. After having formed a group and being trained, we looked at the village map. We identified different types of soil. So we put a variety trial in each type of soil in order to fight striga.
Kuna udongo tofauti tofauti. Sasa tukawa katika kila udongo tukawa tunaweka majaribio ya mazao yetu yale tuliyoyaandaa kwa ajili ya kupambana na kidua.
To get a good picture, all members compared their preferred varieties in a similar site on their own farm, avoiding parts that were inundated or had termite hills. They also made sure to treat the new and local varieties in the same way. Obviously, if you fertilize one variety and not the other, you'll not know if the difference in yield is a result of the variety or a result of the fertilizer. To learn faster how new varieties grow under different conditions, group members decided to regularly visit each other's fields to see what each had done and how the varieties developed and yielded.
Nitawashawishi kwa namna ya
It is important to test new varieties to solve the problem of striga, to identify which variety grows best in your field and which one gives more yield and matures faster.
Ndivyo itakavyokuwa inaeleweka.
As I learn from my fellow farmers, I then apply the same to my field as they do.
Maria Nalingigwa had not applied manure to any of the varieties, so when group members visited her field, they could compare the varieties under those conditions and learn from what she had done. Christopher, on the other hand, had been able to weed his varieties only once, so when his colleagues visited his field, they could judge how the varieties performed when there are a lot of weeds present. Maria Emanuel decided to further experiment with 3 new varieties on her own farm.
Unapanda mbegu kwa kutumia udongo aina moja na mbegu moja. Alafu la pili tunaloliangalia ni kwamba
I divided the plots into 2 equal halves. In one half, I applied manure to all varieties, and in the other half, I did not apply manure. I also made sure to plant all varieties at the same time in both halves, with and without manure.
Ni kupanda kwa wakati mmoja, mbegu zote aina mbili. Unapanda kwa wakati mmoja, kuliko weka mbolea na kusiko weka mbolea.
By sharing experiences from the trials on their own fields and in the fields of their fellow farmers, all learned quickly about the behavior and traits of the new varieties. The 3rd year, members expanded the area of their preferred varieties and repeated their observations. As their knowledge and confidence grew, some of the Nkungi group members came up with clever ways to promote the new striga-resistant varieties.
I convinced my fellow farmers by labeling each variety to show the difference, so they can see which one is good and which one matures faster, so they can understand. To promote the new variety, I carry 1 panicle. So when I go to the market to sell my seed, I put it beside me and tell them here it is, so that it can help them understand that it is a good variety.
So what have we learned? There are 4 ways to improve the results of variety testing. First, if we want to test a variety for striga tolerance, we need to test it in fields that have had lots of striga the year before. The same is true for testing varieties against other criteria, such as low soil fertility or a specific type of soil. Second, to get a good picture of the varieties themselves, we have to compare them in a field which is even and that does not have disturbing parts in it, such as a shade of trees, termite hills, or parts where water collects. Third, keep all things equal apart from the varieties. Obviously, if we fertilize or weed one variety and not the others, we'll not be able to know if the difference in performance is due to the variety or the fertilizer or weeding treatments. Fourth, repeat your observations. Testing varieties in several different farmers' fields and visiting each other's fields gives a quick idea of how new varieties are performing under different conditions. And remember, using striga-resistant varieties is only one option to win the battle against striga. By By working in groups, you can learn about new varieties and other striga control options faster and better. In this way, joint efforts lead to a better harvest for all.